It feels like yesterday I was at home during the pandemic in the 6th grade, and now I'm halfway through junior year, preparing for the college applications process, and all I can hear about is demonstrating commitment. Not just how many extracurricular activities you can juggle in your limited time, but how long you can actually keep it up. Of course, it makes sense. You try something, you stick with it and work hard, so it's guaranteed to work out, right? No, something I've learned the hard way is that, just like with college admissions, nothing is ever really guaranteed. So, what do you do when something fails? Hi, everyone. I'm Alyssa Chen, and today I'm going to answer that question using the power to pivot. I was always labeled a gifted child, precocious. And as most gifted children do, I soon realized I was a big fish in a small pond. Now, my realization came earlier than most. Middle school certainly wasn't the worst time to get an ego check. But for someone who wasn't accustomed to failure, it felt debilitating. I felt like I wasn't as good at math and science, certainly not as much as my friends or peers. It made me think that STEM just wasn't an option for me, because if I wasn't good at it in middle school, then there was no hope for me ever in the future. So, I went with humanities. I joined my school's business club, and in the 8th grade, my team made it to the state competition level. Then, during our presentation round, I blew it. Not my greatest moment, but it did make me think, am I cut out for this? Now, don't get me wrong, failure isn't a dead end, and I've worked on my public speaking a lot, as I hope you can tell. But what I did do was start to reconsider the path I had already laid out for myself. That summer, I took an online geometry course to try and get ahead in math. Then in 9th grade biology, I realized that not only could I enjoy science, I could actually excel at it. Today, if you ask me what I want to do in the future, I might tell you I want to go into medicine and be an anesthesiologist. If I'm being honest, I'm still not really sure. But what I do know is that too early, I tried to close the door on the entire field of STEM, and now those are my favorite classes. So often, we think we just aren't cut out for something. I'm not a math person, or reading doesn't come easily to me. But when we close these doors preemptively, we're just narrowing our options. Even as early as middle school, we like to think that we have our whole life figured out. And then we go to college and change our minds anyways. The National Center for Education Statistics did a study in 2017 on undergrad students. They found that 1/3 of them actually changed their major in the first 3 years of enrollment, and 10% changed their major more than once. We aren't confined to what we start out with, just what we push ourselves to explore. By keeping a wide variety of fields and areas of interest open, when one option fails, we have more to fall back on. So, now that we have something to pivot to, we can make that change. But it's a lot easier said than done. No matter your age or background, everyone seems to want you to know where you want to be and get there with the most direct path. I mean, who wouldn't want to go straight from A to B? But that's not always possible. Things happen. Plans change. People change. The power to pivot is beyond simple willpower or determination. It's the ability to adapt and be flexible and to transform your own path. To do this, you have to have the right mindset. You have to embrace change, and that's the second step to pivoting. Now, look. Humans are naturally averse to change. We're biologically programmed to be anxious, to fear potential negative consequences. It's all thanks to the amygdala, the fear center in our brains. It's supposed to let us know to be afraid when a bear is chasing us. But sometimes we can't tell the difference between a bear chasing us and taking a math test. We get so caught up in the possible downsides that we don't see what we have to gain. Sure, no one likes messing up a project or flunking a quiz, but mistakes are how we learn. Sometimes paths close, and like a GPS, we need to reroute. And even if it starts out hard, practice makes better, as my middle school music teacher always liked to say. So the more that we confront change and turbulence, the easier it becomes to navigate it. Pivoting isn't limited to youth either. The Lumina Foundation did a study on adults who went back to college later in life. They found that 3/4 earned their post-secondary credential they met or exceeded their own expectations, and they credited their later life outcomes with these educational outcomes. During the pandemic, the number of people working from home tripled, and students across the world had to start learning from home. Whether it's making a career change or going back to school, anyone can pivot. We all have the ability to transform our own lives. My third and final step to pivoting is to place many bets. This goes hand in hand with not shutting doors preemptively. A University of Florida photography professor did a study on his students. He split them into two groups. Group 1, quantity, and Group B, quality. The students in Group 1 were judged on how many distinct photos they submitted by the end of the semester. 100 got you an A, 90 a B, so on and so forth. The students in Group 2 were judged on the quality of a single photo that they submitted. Who do you think had the better photos? Often, we're told that we should value quality over quantity, and while that's still true for most of our work production, what this study found was very interesting. The students in Group 1, quantity, actually had better photos than the students in Group 2, quality. By taking 100 photos over the course of the semester, the students in Group 1 refined their skills, getting actual experience in the field. Meanwhile, the students in Group 2 agonized over a single photo, and their lack of experience was reflected in their submissions. So, does this mean we should always be valuing quantity over quality? No, of course not. But it does mean we should be valuing trial and error. Only by exploring a variety of disciplines can we experiment and find what actually works best. Picasso painted over 50,000 works in his entire lifetime. One of those sold for over $150 million in 2015, while others can be purchased for a mere $1,000. So, place many bets. Try new things. Still, when it comes to a major pivot, it can be difficult. There's no sugarcoating it. The smaller changes can be just as beneficial and easier, sure, but when it comes to a large decision, it is often hard. I've been playing violin for 10 years now, 2/3 of my entire life. It's been a huge part of my identity, both externally, as my friends and peers can attest, and internally. But this year, after lots and lots of reflection, I've decided to pivot away from it. This isn't coming out of nowhere. For me, violin has been more than playing in my school orchestra or practicing at home. It's been auditions, competitions, festivals, conventions, state-level orchestras. And with the success I've had, have also had a vicious cycle, the highs of my success and the many, many lows. I realized after my 10th mental breakdown of the semester that I needed to change. I'm still not entirely sure what this is going to look like for me. I still love playing violin in my youth orchestra, so I'm certainly not going to sell my instrument. But I do know that the stress of having auditions, the constant need to practice, not to mention the pressure I felt to continue, it was all unsustainable. By putting the violin down now, I'm opening the door to so many more opportunities and so much more time. I'm hoping to find shadowing and internship opportunities, to get a part-time job, and to invest more time in my other extracurriculars, including piano. I'm not closing this door. The change will be gradual, but I am still making this pivot. So, to all of you out there, yes, you can do it. It may be hard. It may feel like you are losing a part of yourself, but I will always be a musician. These past 10 years will always be a part of me. No matter what form your decision takes or how much you decide to change, know that you always have the power to pivot. Thank you.